Hey, it's Shannon here from the Anxiety and OCD Treatment Center of Central Pennsylvania. And welcome back. Thank you for checking out my three-part video series. And this is the third and final video in this series. And what we're going to talk about is what it actually means to be in recovery. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up, I asked you guys for about 45 minutes of my time, probably in the first video, and just said, these videos are going to be short and sweet, but give you a lot of information. So I hope that I'm doing that. I haven't been keeping track of the time as I've been recording these. And so, what does recovery mean? And what I think recovery means is it means freedom, right? And so being in recovery from OCD is a bit like breaking free from an invisible prison. And so when people successfully learn to manage their OCD symptoms, they not only reclaim their mental well-being, but also experience tangible benefits. And one of those tangible benefits is freedom. And so let's break down what these 5 things, I'm going to share 5 things that I think are part of recovery and what these 5 things are that happen when you reach recovery. And so the first one is freedom from the cycle of OCD, right? And so at the core of the OCD is this cycle, the obsessions and compulsions, and they really kind of hijack like who you really are, or they get you to believe that you don't know who you really are. And they create tons of doubt. And so recovery allows you to be free from the constraints of rituals and to respond differently to your thoughts. So imagine not having to second guess every action or thought that you have. Imagine being able to enjoy the present moment without like this cloud of uncertainty and anxiety plaguing you or dread. That's what freedom from OCD looks like, right? So where you're actively participating in life. And so number 2 is time. And OCD compulsions can be incredibly time consuming. And so the number one thing I hear from clients is that I want more time or I want my time back, right? When I say, well, what do you want to change about your life? So you will literally gain time that can be spent doing things that you want to do when you break the cycle with OCD. Number 3 is cost, right? So financial cost, that's what we're talking about here. And so many times when we have obsessive compulsive disorder, we are engaging in compulsions that require products, right? So I was looking here at my desk if I have anything that I could show, but we might use excessive amounts of Clorox wipes, or we might use lots of hand soap, right? Or maybe we use lots of toilet paper or paper towels, all of those kinds of things, right? So, I mean, obviously there's mental cost, but there's significant financial cost for many people. So when we break this cycle, we no longer have to fund our bank account for these resources, right? And so sometimes what I like to think about is like the habit of smoking, right? It's a dirty, yucky habit. I'm sorry if you're a smoker out there that's watching this, but I think it's kind of a yucky habit. And so I think about all that money that the people that are smoking spend on cigarettes, right? And I don't even know what a pack of cigarettes costs these days. I think it's like $8, somewhere between the $8 and $10 range, right? And I think that's for 20 cigarettes. I should have checked my facts here, but I do believe it's like somewhere around that range, right? And so when we think about, gosh, look at all of that money and like what the cost of each cigarette is, right? So I kind of think of compulsions like this. They're this like dirty little thing. And if you thought about every time like you weren't smoking a cigarette, every time you didn't engage in a compulsion, you were like getting lung space back, right? You were able to breathe easier. You are able to save money, right? I know there's these apps that people use when they're quitting smoking where it keeps track of like how much money you're saving. I always think that's pretty cool, just because I do think it can be a motivator for people to stay on track with quitting. So anyway, just one way to think about it, thinking about what you're saving, and what could you do with that money, right? Like, so all that money that you've spent on these products, could you put it in a bank account? Could you put it somewhere, like somewhere that really matters to you? Could you, go on a vacation or a trip or buy yourself something that you've wanted for a long time, that you could enjoy, because you now have mental space for that. So the fourth one is values, right? And so we're going to be doing values-based activities. That's what real recovery looks like. And so you're gaining that, not that you didn't have values all along, but like now you're actually able to engage in things that are related to your values. And so the freedom you will have from OCD really opens up space for things that you really care about, or also maybe even figuring out what you really care about. And so now you can focus on like relationships, hobbies, career, other things that matter to you. And so this is where, in using acceptance and commitment therapy, we talk about this rich, meaningful life. And that's what values-based work does. So number 5, this is our final part of recovery here. And so this is being able to be present, right? And so another part of recovery is just being able to be here, right? In this moment, listening to me, noticing what I'm talking about, feeling all the feelings, all of that stuff. Okay. And so OCD really has a cruel way of pulling you out of the present and trapping you in a cycle of what ifs and worst case scenarios. So when you reach recovery, this means that you can engage in life as it is happening. And so instead of giving tons of attention to OCD, you're giving tons of attention to other things that really matter to you, like relationships or activities, hobbies, creativity, whatever that might be. And so I'm really here to tell you that recovery is worth all of the challenges that you face throughout treatment, right? And all of the increase in the discomfort or the anxiety that occurs when you're engaging in exposure and response prevention. But gosh, when you think about these details of recovery, it really is so worth it. So I ask you to take a look at my course that is being released, and that is called Finding Freedom, the Anxiety and OCD Recovery Roadmap, and see if that might be something that's a good fit for you. So you can learn more, you can work on yourself, you can grow, you can meet with me weekly, basically. So check it out. You will be receiving an email about that shortly. So thanks again for checking out my videos.